Welcome everyone to this Forge College Explainer. We are diving into a critical part of our Deploying Smart Contracts with Confidence course, right inside the Ethereum Dev Stacks and Frameworks track. Last time, in Foundations of Protocol Interaction, we made sure your deployment scripts were perfectly reliable with retries and graceful rollbacks. But today, we're asking a pretty terrifying question. What if your perfectly reliable pipeline gets hijacked to deliver something malicious? Today, we're basically playing defense against a literal reverse heist. Here is our master security blueprint for today. We've got 1. The deployment danger zone. 2. Threat modeling your pipeline. 3. The secure deployment workflow. 4. Cryptographic provenance. And finally, 5. Locking down the gates. Let's jump right in. Section 1. The deployment danger zone.
Okay, think about the absolute irony here for a second. If a hacker takes the wheel, all those amazing, ultra-reliable deployment features we built, they just ensure their malicious code is delivered flawlessly. It's a really sobering question. Is your pipeline the actual vulnerability? We spend hours upon hours testing application code, running static analysis, doing peer reviews, but if an attacker just manipulates your automated scripts, they bypass all that hard work entirely. Your pipeline isn't just some helpful tool, it's literally the front door to your production environment. But here's the good news. You don't need to secure every single atom of the universe to be safe. You really just need to focus on integrity gates. Think of these as heavy, reinforced security checkpoints. Things like your signing keys, artifact registries, and CI authorizations. If you lock down these specific, critical checkpoints, you make it incredibly difficult for an attacker to sneak a fake release through the back door. Protecting these specific spots yields a disproportionately massive benefit. Section 2. Threat modeling your pipeline.
To map out our vulnerabilities, we've kind of got to think like a highly sophisticated heist crew casing a joint. Take compromised CI credentials, for example. Leaving long-lived, plain-text secrets in your setup is basically leaving the keys to the vault under a neon-flashing doormat. You've got to swap those out for short-lived tokens. Worried about malicious third-party actions? Trap them in sandboxed runners. And what if a developer's own laptop gets compromised? You enforce CI side build reproducibility, so their tampered local code simply can't be forced into production. The difference here is night and day. A vulnerable runner is an attacker's absolute dream. It just sits there with long-lived keys, broad privileges, and total network exposure. What you actually want is the gold standard, an isolated runner. This is ephemeral, meaning it poofs into existence just for the job and then vanishes completely, operating with the absolute minimum privileges necessary. You should always strive for isolated runners to drastically reduce your blast radius if things go sideways.
Section 3. The secure deployment workflow.
So if threat modeling was finding the holes, this secure workflow is us installing the laser grids and biometric scanners. We can map this workflow into 6 explicit steps. The goal here is adding concrete gates and verifiability at every single handoff, from the very moment the code leaves the source repository all the way to your production hosts. In the setup phases, steps 1 and 2, it's all about hygiene. You enforce branch protection and require signed commits so bad actors can't inject code upstream. You absolutely have to scan your code diffs to ensure passwords never accidentally slip into your history. And remember, run those builds strictly on those isolated ephemeral runners using temporary tokens. No hard-coded credentials, ever. No exceptions. Then we get to steps 4 and 5, which are all about enforcement. You need automated CI gates, meaning your security rules are written down as auditable code. For production pushes, you require multi-sig approval, meaning multiple real humans have to sign off. Most importantly, your orchestration system must rigorously verify the artifact's digital signature. And if it fails, don't just log a warning somewhere. Abort immediately and treat it as an active threat. Section 4. Cryptographic provenance and signatures. All right, this right here is the climax of our defense strategy. If your code is a priceless diamond, provenance metadata is how we cryptographically lock it inside an unbreakable vault before we move it. Think of it as an undeniable forensic receipt for your build. It records the exact commit hash, the dependencies, and the runner ID, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that what arrives in production is exactly what your CI system built. The beauty of this is that you don't need a massive, complicated wall of code. Just ensure your script records these 4 specific metadata variables: the exact commit SHA, a signed tag, the runner ID, and a checksum of your dependencies. You bundle those up with a signature from a controlled external signing service. And pro tip, keep your private keys far, far away from your CI runners so they can't be stolen during a build.
By applying these primitives, you are creating an unbreakable cryptographic bind. It tightly links the source code sitting in your version control, the compiled artifact, and the exact CI job that processed it. Because of this tight link, it's virtually impossible for an attacker to swap in a malicious file midstream without breaking the signature and setting off some blatantly obvious alarms. Finally, Section 5, locking down the gates. I love this quote because it highlights a really comforting secret about security. You don't actually need flawless perfection everywhere. As we've learned, an attacker rarely needs to compromise the whole system. They just look for that one weak link. So you just need impenetrable integrity gates. If a hacker can't forge that final signature, their whole attack falls apart, regardless of what else they might have managed to touch. So, here is your immediate action plan. Treat your deployment automation as its own threat model. Actually utilize provenance metadata. Enforce branch protection. Record your comprehensive CI metadata, and vigorously verify those signatures at the orchestration layer. These are not just nice-to-have checkboxes for an audit. They fundamentally alter what attackers can actually pull off, and they keep your deployments totally uncompromised. So, I'll leave you with this question. Are your integrity gates locked and ready for automated release verification? Take a really hard look at your pipeline today. If a hacker got into your automated scripts right now, would your system catch them, or would it just reliably deploy their malware for them? Think about how you're going to lock those gates down before our next lesson. And please, to dive deeper into this subject and discover even more incredible Web3 resources, visit forge.college. Thanks for joining us for this Forge College Explainer, and stay secure out there.